everyone, Therese here. I hope that you are having a fabulous week. I'm here today with karma cards. I didn't really have a specific message, so I just asked the team what messages they'd like me to share this week, and they gave me a really interesting one to share with everybody. So I'm going to share that tonight. And I also wanted to let you know that my yearly cosmic goal setting workshop, the Epic Year Workshop, is coming up this month on November 24th. And I already have an awesome group of people from all over the world who will be joining me. If you would like to join me for this workshop, there is an early bird price right now, and I put the link in the title, so you could just jump right into that if you want to check it out. I am taking people through intentional goal setting using the cosmic alignments of your personal life. So we're using astrology, we're using numerology to find out where your own vibration is heading and helping you make goals that are in alignment with that, because you want to be in flow. You want to be in your own flow and in the flow with the universe. So definitely check that out, 2021 Epic Year Workshop. All right. So the message that the team has for me to share tonight, it's really interesting. It has to do with what's happening in energy and in the timelines right now. Now, you have heard me talk about timelines many times. If you've been listening to my YouTube channel, or if you catch me on Facebook Live, oftentimes I've talked about the different timeline energy. And a few weeks ago, I had shared that we were at the split in the road. We were at the fork. And a few weeks ago, when I looked at this energy, there was a fork in the road, and we were about 500 feet from it if we were walking down a path. And what it showed me were two distinct paths. And I'm sure there's more, but there's two major paths is what I'll say. And one was a flat, very flat, paved path that was wide and open and well-traveled, well-known. And then there was a second major path that was lush. It was natural. It was overgrowing. There was a path in it, but it was more of a natural path. And it wound through this landscape and kind of disappeared. It was hard for me to see it. And so a couple weeks ago, when I got that image, what I saw were we were about 500 feet away, and they said everyone's chosen by now. So we're walking down this path, and we see our two major choices, and people have decided before getting there. And they said, think about this. You do this anyway. When you're on a walk, if you go hiking somewhere and you're coming up to a choice point, you're usually making that choice before you get there. Sometimes you might change your mind at the last minute, and people will. And sometimes you might let yourself just kind of decide at a whim. But for the most part, you've already kind of as you're walking to these choices, you're already sussing them out and deciding which way you're going to go. What was really interesting was on Sunday night, I was taking a bath, and a lot of times you can get psychic messages or intuitive messages when you're in water, because water is a conductor for psychic energy. So taking a bath, and I hear my team say, the timelines have officially split. And I was like, whoa, what? Because I could feel it. But they said it's officially split. We're no longer 500 feet away. The fork is here. People are on paths now. They've made their choice, and they're going down these paths. Interesting, because we can still see people on the other path, if that makes sense. Okay, so we've chosen which direction we're heading in, and yet we can still see people who are choosing another path. And it's not like they've disappeared. They're not going anywhere. We're just having completely different experiences of reality. And remember, another point my team has definitely wanted to make sure that they've gotten home to me and want me to pass on is that multiple realities exist. Okay, so there is, as we move forward in ascension energy, as we get to higher levels of ascension, these realities, which are co-merged right now, we're in a co-merged multiple reality state. They will start to unmerge as we go higher in energy. And when we go back to the studies like the Law of One, they talk about why. And I've shown you this too. I've shown it to you using the map of the body. The map of the body, it is also a map of ascension for us as well. And I'll just briefly go over it. If you want to see it in detail with visuals and everything that I drew, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can look at Polarity 101. And that gives you more detail. But just to kind of recap again, we're in the beginning stages of fourth density. And fourth density is, like I call it, this part of fourth density, the detox vibration. We really separate. We see the full polarity. We see full positive polarity, full negative polarity. We can see people playing in each one. It gets clearer and clearer as we go deeper into this density of energy. At some point, there is an absolute break in fourth density. There's a higher timeline of fourth density, a higher polarity, and then there's the negative lower polarity. And they no longer coexist as when we go further in, okay? And when I showed you the map of the chakras, when we were looking at how does this work? How is this possible? It has to do with the fact that ascension, the fourth density, relates to the fourth chakra, which is the heart. So we share the lower third densities. So we would look at root, sacral, and solar plexus. Solar plexus relates to the third density, right? And some of us still have a relational energy to that because that's where we started this journey, but we're fully in the fourth now. So in third density, everything's commingled, and you don't really, and players can blend in together, and intentions can blend together. They can, they're a little bit more muddled and harder to see. When you get to fourth density, where we're at now, it really starts to separate. We polarize. The first thing that happens is polarization. Why? Because ascension happens through the open heart. Ascension comes through your heart chakra. It comes through whether the heart is open or not. Now, interestingly enough, you can continue to ascend in energy without opening the heart. But this is called negative fourth density. So negative without heart, negative, right? Minus, positive plus heart, right? So when you go without the heart, when you keep the heart closed, you go onto a negative polarity timeline. And this would be the service to self faction is another name for it, right? Because this energy has decided that they don't need others. They're going to do this alone. They're cutting themselves off, cutting it out, and they close the heart. And that takes you down negative fourth density polarity, which is like going to maybe a scarier neighborhood, where positive fourth polarity requires you to open your heart. It requires you to be there for others. It is the service to others vibration. And it's this recognition of, I can do this myself, but I want to do it with you. I want to move through the lessons of the heart with you. So the lessons of the heart are about understanding, compassion, love, forgiveness. These are all lessons of the heart. And these are all the things that we're being asked to take on and take in and work through. And what's happening in the outside world is just catalyst to do that. Will you do it? Will you keep your heart open, or will you close it? Will you try to understand, or will you go to judgment? Will you go to compassion, or will you go to rejection? And that's all the outside world is about, is to make these internal choices. And from those places, we start to experience different kinds of reality. So when this split occurs, I believe will be this kind of moment that a lot of us are waiting for. There's going to be an energetic moment, which would be, in the Law of One, it would be considered the graduation point. The graduation point is when we've made the choice. So the end of third density and the beginning of fourth, with all this polarization, is all about making a choice. Will I close my heart or open it, is one way you could look at it. Will I be of service only to myself, or will I be of service to others, including myself, is another way to look at this. It's this really interesting energy of choice point. It's a choice. So once that's made and we've really aligned to it, or and some of us made it early on, and then our goal really is about, are we doing what we said we'd do, right? Because we always have free will. We can do it or not. We can still make a choice and not do it. So really everything that's being presented to us externally is just to create catalyst for growth in us individually, so that when we get to this graduation point, it splits. And there's so many different theories about what's going to happen, what it's going to look like, how it's going to feel, that it's one of those situations where I would simply say this is something to meditate on. What does graduating to a higher vibration or a different vibration mean to you? Rather than trying to give you one perspective of it, I would say it's more important to go in and find out what your guides, your heart, your higher self wants you to know about the energy coming up. So they're saying we're here. The roads have split. The catalyst will get stronger because of this split. There's stark contrast in realities. We'll continue to see that play out. And it's, believe it or not, it's still about you. It's still about you and the choices that you make, and the choices that feel most aligned to you. It's still about your journey and your growth. So they want you to know that you will survive this, even if it feels intense right now. And I know there are fears around survival. There's a lot of programming around fear and survival that's being put out there. Again, it's catalyst for our growth, but they want you to know that you absolutely will survive. And if it says it, you'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings, okay? And what they said, what helps with this, what helps you see it, right? So you surviving this is, they would say that's ultimate truth, foundational. What helps you see it if you don't feel that energy now is shifting your perspective. And this is where they're showing me the picture of the hanged man in the tarot. So a lot of people misunderstand this card, the hanged man. You see a man hanging upside down by his foot, and he's usually hanging over a pool of water. And what this actually represents is being willing to shift your perspective to see things differently, to get new answers. So the man in that card hangs himself upside down. He hangs himself upside down by a tree and looks into the water to see the world differently. And then suddenly what he sees in the reflection brings him so much new information and a deeper understanding that he finds peace. So you see the man in the card, and he's like, almost looks like he's meditating upside down because he's finding a place of peace through looking at things from a different perspective. And that's the energy that they're bringing through right now that they'd like to share. And so those are the messages that are happening right now. Of course, I have karma cards, which will give us another layer to this as well. But if you're in this place right now where you feel stuck, you feel like you're struggling, or you feel like you're in sort of like a cycle of worry, your team is asking you to do something different, to experience the world through a different lens. And this means shake it up a little bit. So, if you're doing sort of a routine, or you find yourself doing the same thing every day, now is the time to add something different in there, even if it means trying to stand on your head, because even that will show you the world differently. Let's do karma cards. For those who are new to karma cards, let me tell you about these really quick. I have 3 decks here. I have the planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what's the message you have for us right now? And I have 2 sets of answers, one set in red and another set in blue. Red is action, blue is outcome. And how you play is you just tune into yourself intuitively and feel, what do I need right now? And if you want red or action, type that in. And if you want blue or outcome, type that in. And of course, if you feel that both are going to resonate for you, you can type in both. Let me give you the timing for this reading. So the timing for this reading is for today, November 18th through November 25th. And while you're tuning in, the flavor of this reading is planet Pluto. Pluto's back in its sign of Capricorn, which is really interesting because that's where Pluto has been placed all year, is Pluto in Capricorn. In the 5th house of creativity and personal sovereignty, and it's like your power. Okay. So here's the action answers for those who are choosing red or action. Your spiritual action is to resurrect your goals with the trust of a child. I love this. This is in alignment with where I'm personally at, but also it's in alignment with what I'm working on with people this month with the Epic Year workshop. So resurrect your goals with the trust of a child. It is so easy when the world goes crazy to throw everything you're trying to do personally out the window because it feels so uncertain and unsure. That's a natural response. It is a fight or flight self-care response to right, just kind of put everything on hold. You're being asked now to re-empower yourself and bring it back on. The world keeps turning no matter what's happening. We've seen it. We've been here for it. And we will continue to watch that. So you're being asked to not stop, not put things down, but rather re-infuse yourself with what you came here to do that hasn't been taken off the plate. The universe wants you to know, no, you're here to do something. So what is it, right? Resurrect that with the trust of a child. That means that this, so instead of like doing it half-heartedly, where you're like, well, if things go okay, maybe this will happen. It's kind of like, no, when a kid wants something, it goes all in. The trust of a child means going all in. All right. Mental action at this time. Get to the heart of the day-to-day reality of fun, romance, and making art. So it's interesting because the 5th house, the number 5, is connected to the heart. And no matter what's going on, the heart keeps beating. So there's this message here. There's sort of a reoccurring message here of like, it keeps going, right? So it only stops when we give up, when we stop. But the reality is, the sun goes down, the sun's coming back up. Do you know how many rounds of that you've got? No. But will you be pissed if you leave this planet and you realize you could have used more of that time? You could have like milked that baby. I know that if we get to the end of our life and we get to look back, we'll be like, I should have milked it. I should have like went for it. We know that feeling. We recognize that that's a probability. So although it is tempting to shut down, the message here is to understand that this is your time. You don't get more. Not going to be handed more just because something out there is threatening you. And whenever you feel limits placed on you, there's an opportunity here, right? There's an opportunity. There's lots of opportunities, but one opportunity I can point out is there's an opportunity to get creative. And I actually practiced this one personally today. So I make jewelry and I take my own photos and I like to do the little layouts and stuff. And I realized that I wanted a specific, they have like these layout backdrop things, these mats and boards and things like that. And I wanted a certain one and I need it like yesterday. And I just been sitting on it. I haven't done anything about it. And yeah, it occurred to me, I was like, today I was going, oh man, I should have ordered that. I was kind of doing the wah, sorry for myself thing. Like, man, I procrastinated too long. I should have ordered that. Now if I order it, what if it doesn't come in time? Blah, blah, blah. And my team was like, snap out of it, Tucker. They were like, okay, there's a limit here. The limit is you have an opportunity to you can make some new choices here. And the choice I made was like, F it, if I can't buy it right now, what if I tried to make it? I have a lot of materials to make things, right? So that's how I was inspired to adapt, and not limit myself, and not sit there and throw my hands up and say, well, I'm limited, so I can't do anything. Many times, especially with artists, we put limits on ourselves on purpose to inspire creative action. So the art that you really love to look at, most likely that person who created it gave themselves self-imposed limits to push their creativity. So when limits get placed on us, it's not it doesn't have to be about getting shut down. It can be about pushing the limits to be creative or find new solutions. So everything that's put in front of us in this lifetime is an opportunity for you to grow, to expand, to see how, creative and solution oriented you are. There's always that kind of opportunity. Physical action at this time, do or die. You must use the most business-like way and do it dramatically. All right, so this is Pluto. Pluto is a very intense energy. In fact, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, which is the season we're in right now. So this is a very intense energy. It's not about holding back. It's about balls to the wall. Anybody who's a Scorpio or knows a Scorpio, they can go balls to the wall pretty fast. Use the most business-like way. Get down to business, right? I'm going to go all in. I'm getting down to business, and I'm doing it dramatically, which means that, this can be taken so many ways, but it really is this reclaiming action. One of Pluto's strengths, when it is used in your life in a positive way, what Pluto brings is absolute empowerment. So this spread, and the fifth house is ruled by Leo, which is also another empowerment card. So this is very much about empowering yourself, remembering your sovereignty, and remembering that your life is truly for you. It is not ruled by others, it's ruled by you. And so when we have that awareness, we can start to act from that place. Spiritual outcome at this time is the need for control of dedication to achieve the power of love. Wow. The need for control of dedication to achieve the power of love. So this is another, they sort of said this last time we did karma cards, but it is very much a self-discipline time, which means that a big part of self-discipline, I'm having trouble with the words tonight. Okay. Self-discipline is the ability to get yourself back on track, right? So this is where knowing what takes you off track and knowing what you need to do to get you on track. So this is about really honing in on that, which is asking yourself more often, is this empowering me or disempowering me? And if it's not empowering you, why do you keep giving it energy? This can be a really hard one sometimes to unplug from, because we get caught up in outside world stuff. We get caught up in stories. We get caught up in our own ego working on us through a sense of fear. Like, our ego is eating this shit up right now. It loves it. It loves the drama. It loves the feeling of needing, it loves feeding off of our fear and negativity. The ego loves to do that. So it's a big part of it right now is kind of getting down to, why am I stopping? Why am I stopping? Why am I letting this shrink me or take me down? We need to get hold of that self-discipline. That will help you achieve the power of love. The power of love is the open heart, right? And the open heart is the way forward to the higher timeline, the natural timeline, the better timeline, the one that you definitely, I believe you'd like to be on, because that one's going to feel better for not just you, but everybody else, right? There is a false timeline. We've talked about that one's shutting down, and it's going to shut down fairly soon. So finding this self-discipline and learning what is sucking your energy and taking it away from you and claiming your time back is going to help you achieve that strong, open heart. Mental outcome at this time, an obsession with focusing on investment, gambles, and other games. So this is where the resistance is, because right now there's this desire to distract ourselves, right? Distract ourselves from everything, not just what makes us uncomfortable, but it's almost like people are pausing their life because they're waiting for something. They're pausing their life until things go back to what they recognize. What everybody, including myself, what we all have to recognize, it's not going back to what we know. That doesn't mean it's going to get worse. It could get a lot better, but it's never going back. And while we sit there and wait, we are literally taking our own time away from ourselves. So there is this inner battle that's going on about whether or not we check out for a while, or whether we bring ourselves back to what we're here to do. And that doesn't mean that you don't take those breaks and the self-care. It just means that right now the temptation is to just, movie binge for 5 days in your pajamas, right? And the self-discipline needs to kick in and say, you know what, you get 1 day or you get 3 movies, and then we're getting back to what we need to do. So it's not about black and white thinking, all or nothing, but it's about this recognition of, in my life, I am the ultimate authority. I am the adult. I am the responsible one. And I am the one that says where my energy goes. And I no longer just let it get drained by things, including my own self-soothing behavior. The physical outcome at this time, a power struggle resulting from the rules imposed by your creations. And interestingly enough, so one of the things that I'm always talking about is the fact that we're all sovereign beings. We are the creator being of our lives. So our creation, part of our creation is what we experience in the world. It doesn't mean you're responsible for all of it, because again, we're co-creating as a group, but we are here for some of that. Some of it we're putting in there. So the rules imposed by our creations. Now, interestingly enough, I see a lot of places where they're pushing back on this, right? They're pushing back in a big way because letting ourselves get lulled in a certain direction or feel, again, it's that kind of like letting the outside world sort of dictate everything about your life. People are waking up and pushing back on that. And so that's one of the things that this is talking about. The other thing is that inner power struggle as well. So it's always mirroring. It's always mirroring. And when you work on one area, the other area gets worked on too. But the team keeps saying, please work on the inside part because that's the most potent and powerful part in your own life. So the power struggle within, right, is whether I claim everything back to me and I say, no, I'm the captain of this ship and we're going in this direction. I'm following this energy now. Or if we let kind of the chaos of everything going on just kind of pull us off course, that is definitely another power struggle and probably the more potent one right now. So the message from the team here really is this: if you start from that position of, I survived this. If you start from that assumption rather than I don't know what's going to happen, when you start from that position of I survived this, then you start to call your power back to you. And this is a very important key part for all of us, is calling the power back to us. I want to end with this little bit that when I got this, it really helped me in my life. And sometimes I forget it and then I bring it back. But when I first got this, I was a teenager And I used to hang out with psychics all the time. I had a little cafe near my house, and I'd go up after school and I'd sit down, and they sort of adopted me and would talk to me and tell me all sorts of cool things. And I would, ask them lots of questions. But one of the things that I remember learning about was that we're here to call the power back to us now. And one of the points of reincarnation, there's lots of reasons why, but one of the reasons why we feel the need to come back is because we've possibly left pieces of ourselves here. So I like you to think of it like this. At your soul spark inception, you were a perfect mirror, one, unified, right? And then you came into experience. You came into life and experience. And whatever happened there caused the mirror to crack. Maybe it was sad experience, trauma. Maybe it was loss. Some cracks became so big that they became shards, and the mirror would break into pieces. And some of these pieces were lost because of pain, and some of them we gave away because of joy or because we didn't want to let go. And so we've got pieces of ourselves all over the place. And shamans understand this. Shamans are about going in and helping you find those soul fragments and bring them back. So for us to fully ascend up and out of this and go into another realm of creation completely, we have to come with our whole mirror. It doesn't matter if it's cracked or if the pieces are put back together and there's little cracks, but you need all the pieces before you have the energetic ability to move upward. So we're here to find those pieces and reintegrate them, to finally, bring all the pieces together. And it's really interesting when you need to get back on track and you're finding that it's hard to do it because life feels overwhelming and heavy. There's a good chance that there's a couple of pieces of you that have scattered for several reasons. So what I like to do is I like to meditate and call all of me back to myself, right? And it's just sort of this energy call in where you feel all those pieces and all that power coming back into you now. And this really can help you sort of get over any block that you might be having in the moment about moving forward. And I wish it was one time and it was done. I think that we sort of like gather and scatter in our lives. And the point isn't to be perfect, but the point is to continue to recognize when you feel weakened or defeated and recognize I've given something of myself away. I've given my power away. I've given energy away. Pieces of myself aren't here. So calling those back first can help you get that energy and willpower back. When our pieces are together, our will is stronger, your personal will. And will is how you create. You will it so. So I hope that this information empowers you, because that's the message, is that you are a powerful being. Please remember that. And I hope it gives you something to focus in on that makes you feel like you're the driver of this life, because you are. And unless you decide from your sovereign position that someone else deserves your time, your energy, or your power, unless you decide to give that to them, you need to start pulling it back in and saying, nope, this is mine. That's not selfishness, that's healthy. That's a healthy form of creation. And when you feel healthy and whole, it is so much easier to have that forgiveness, that love, understanding, and compassion for others. So I hope you have a beautiful week. Mwah! I love you so much. Thank you for being with me, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.